You couldn't let that bother you, you know. We'd be thinking about home and thinking about the family. And, you know, for instance, at Christmas 1944, we were up in the Mount Soley position fighting, and it was winter, you know, snow and cold. We were close, that's close to the Alps in Italy. And that Christmas, we were, I don't want to talk about it, but anyway, I will. We were fighting, and, you know, shells being dropped around us everywhere. And there was a pause, and our padre took some of us into a whole bummed out church for prayer, and that was Christmas Eve then. And those of us who could go in, you know, went in. And that was a time that was very emotional for all of us gathered there, because we thought about it. But the beautiful thing about it was, at the end of that prayer service, and there was being shells dropped all around us, everywhere. Czech Gallagher, Sergeant Gallagher from St. John's, he was there, and he was a beautiful singer. And the prayer service closed with him singing, "Silent Night, Holy Night." That's when the Holy Spirit fell on all of us gathered there. We were all emotionally stirred. And that got cause we were thinking about home, and of course wondering if ever we'd see home again, you know. And that's when God spoke to me, and that's when I got my strong call to the ministry. And I promised him there and then. And I wasn't a Christian by any means then. That when I get back home, if ever I'd get back home, that I'd answer his call and go into the ministry. So that's one Christmas that I can think about was very special. Sandra was asleep in the cot, and I didn't disturb her, so I got into bed, and Myrtle came up, and when she came up, Sandra was awake. So Myrtle went along and spoke to her and said, "Go back to sleep," and covering her up like any mother would do. And then Myrtle knelt by the bed, and she said her prayers, as she always in the bed, wide awake, watching all this. And when her mother went back, tucked her in, and she looked up at her mother, and she said, "Mommy, daddies don't say prayers, do they?" I just about dropped dead in the bed. My darling daughter, child, who I was responsible for, said that her daddy, "Don't say prayers, don't pray." Myrtle tucked her in, and Myrtle got to bed. I was on the inside of the bed, and the moon was shining into our bedroom window, and all I could hear, as Myrtle fell asleep, was, "Mommy, daddies don't say prayers, do they?" I never slept that night. The next morning I got up at daybreak, put on my clothes and went out for a walk. I didn't know what to do or where to go. I came back and at breakfast. Of course, Myrtle was up at breakfast, and she said to me, she said, we should go to church this afternoon, go to the Salvation Army bus. She said, your Uncle Roy will be awfully disappointed and upset if you don't go, if we don't go there. Then Sandra, our little darling child, the service started and Uncle Roy preached, and every word he said seemed like he was preaching to me. You know? Fitted me right to a T. So when he finished preaching, as they did in Salvation Army, they give for an altar call, you said, to be converted. And I was there, and you know, I was wanted to get out of there now. I either had to get out or go up. And Myrtle was sitting there by me, and Sandra, and I was reaching down to get my hat to go out, and my darling wife Myrtle took hold of my hand, and I know what she took it over for. And I left my hat there. Three of us rose up and went to the Pendleton farm and knelt, and I gave my life to Jesus Christ. I haven't looked back since. That's how I became a Christian. That was the most important moment, as you know, of my life. Yes, we got married after I came back from overseas, you know, and 1 year after I came back in '46 actually, and came back in '45 and we got married in September 1946, and then she was with me all through, of course. But like when I went into ministry, I would never got through life without her, actually, because when I went to university, at Mount Arlington University, we had 3 children then, and she had to be responsible for them and me too. And I only had a grade 8 education when I went to university, and I hardly knew a verb from a noun, you know. But anyway, and people told me, everybody told me that I wouldn't get through, and I was accepted at university as a conditional student, but I got through. But it was very difficult. But it was her who put me through and was with me until I was